Son of a Chinese billionaire, really scared to do this but also really curious about what people think of the top 0.1%. So, ask me anything? I will not be stating specific numbers or anything identifiable so I don't ruin my own life or attract any unnecessary attention IRL. However, I will try to be as specific as possible, I guess, so the people with tinfoil hats won't call me a phony. Here goes nothing. I am 19 years old, father worth $2 billion US, at least according to Forbes. The number can differ depending on your source. I don't really have anyone IRL to talk to because of my unique situation, but I hope I can get at least an idea of what normalish, is that a word, you get the idea, people think about the top 0.1% and I hope we all can learn something we didn't know previously. Ask away if you're interested. How do you feel about what's happening in Hong Kong? God, the question I fear has finally come. This is like Frodo staring down that volcano or Harry looking into the eyes of Voldemort. Honestly, I feel like both sides have wronged and did some really messed up things. Firstly, the Chinese government doing some serious shady things which triggered the first wave or protests, which were rather peaceful, and I supported those protests. However, revisiting HK this July I discovered that some protesters were genuinely up to no good. They blocked and trashed the streets of Central. I don't know about other places but I did an internship there and it was a mess. Corporate emails left and right about avoiding subways and working from home if necessary. This was before Molotovs became popular and the airport protest. Thank God none of us was in HK when the airport protests happened, but I can say for certain that it's some real Tom F. Carey down there. How does it work? If you want something you just say it and that's it? I mean, technically yes. Want £20,000? Sure, why not? But that's not, how do I put it, that's not how I want it to be. My father has always been super lenient when it comes to anything that involved money, but over the years I've learned to just get by with as little as possible because I don't want to stand out too much. There's no point in owning a McLaren if you don't have a genuine friend to ride along with you. 3. In China, are you treated differently due to your wealth? Well, whenever I meet new people I always use my real name and birthday to introduce myself, but my background would be completely fabricated. I could be, first name, last name, the son of a factory owner, or, first name, last name, the son of the CFO of a new tech startup. You get the idea. So no, people don't treat me differently because I never try to stand out. I never wear clothes with big brand names attached or printed on it. Never use expensive bags nor wear expensive shoes or ornaments. What type of careers would you like to pursue? I imagine being the son of a billionaire would limit options. Kind of. I still hold a small grudge against my mother for this. When I was a kid I was always interested in science. I wanted to do research, invent, explore, you get the idea. Even nowadays I occasionally read about cosmology and biology as a hobby. My mother wasn't amused when I told her that I wanted to pursue a career in science. She was in fact, super ultra pissed. She didn't even talk to me about it and told the school I would like to enroll in business and economics. This was back in high school 5 years ago. Now looking back I don't really hate my mother for forcing me into a career path I had no interest in, but I can see why she did what she did. To this day she still wouldn't talk to me about why she had to be so forceful, but I'm a glass half full kinda guy, so I like to think instead of me saving lives as a doctor I can now invest a lot of money into pharmaceuticals and would still be saving a lot of lives. Always be Mr. Glass half full. While reading some of the questions and answers in this thread I remember you saying you listen to some anime songs. What are your top 5 animes to watch? In no particular order. Steins Gate, Parasite, One Punch Man, Demon Slayer, Full Metal Alchemist. You seem like a chill dude person. Why wouldn't I be? Grinning cat face with smiling eyes. What kind of schools did you go to? A private international school in Shanghai. School fees fluctuated depending on your year, but high school fees were around 300,000 Chinese yuan a year. I can't name the school since I already gave out my age, but you get the gist of it. I'm sorry people on here are asking you for money. I know it's an AMA, but that's not cool. Nah, I don't really mind. I don't feel annoyed when people ask me for money. I feel annoyed because currently I can do so little to help. Sure, I give my change to the beggar every time I go to Tesco to get orange juice, milk, and cereal, but still. I guess in 10-20 years or so I can finally make a change and start actually helping people. Do you have any brothers or sisters? What types of cars does your family have? I have 2 brothers and a sister, there's 4 of us in total. Cars. My father has never been a huge fan of sports cars, he's more of a van or sedan kind of guy, my mother as well. We currently own a sky blue Bentley. Rich people have a weird taste when it comes to colors, 2 Toyota Alphards for the kids and maids, and I think my father uses a Lincoln Navigator? I'm honestly not sure since I don't see him often, sad face, but it's something akin to that. I mean, it could be hard to socialize because people want your money and not you. Well, it obviously is extremely difficult seeing that I only have 2 friends I can trust as of now. You seem like an awesome person. Kind, and probably more down to earth than many. I don't really have a question, but I'd just like to pop in and wish you a great day. P.S. From what you're willing to admit, since you're posting anonymously, we have similar interests, gaming, anime, which I find pretty cool too. But at the same time, anonymity's a real bummer. I'd love to be friends. Cheers and have a good day, buddy. You too, man. What are the expectations of your parents in regards to a future wife? Are you expected to marry a wealthy Chinese woman? What if you fell in love with someone outside of your race? Would that be frowned upon? Likewise, if you fall in love with someone from a less fortunate economic background, do you know how they might react? At what age would the arranged marriage become imminent? Do you actively date? Would you consider a professional matchmaker instead of traditional dating apps? Thank you for your time. TBH, my parents are considered to be very open-minded, and some Chinese people even call them too progressive. They often joke about me dating a foreigner. I'm still not sure if they're insinuating or being sarcastic, and I've dated a couple of foreigners before, namely a girl from Spain and another one from Switzerland. Normally in China, dating or marrying a foreigner is considered highly unusual as they don't hold similar values to traditional Chinese families. Traditional Chinese families would always require the man to own a house, a car, etc., and for the women to be a virgin, and so on. However, nowadays Chinese parents, especially in more developed cities like Shanghai, Beijing, or Shenzhen, tend to not be so picky or forceful when it comes to marriage. My Spanish girlfriend actually flew with me to Shanghai to meet my parents, and they really liked her. Sadly, the relationship just didn't work out in the end. Anna, by some miracle, if you ever read this, please know that I never regret the year I spent with you, and I'm so sorry we didn't work things out. I would say they probably would pressure me to tie the knot around the age of 25 to 27. They've strongly hinted those ages specifically multiple times when I brought my girlfriend home, and even now they still strongly recommend me to find a new girlfriend. As of now, I'm taking a break from the dating scene as I'm so effing tired of having to lie to girls about not being who I am so that a real relationship can form. My first girlfriend dated me for my money, so that has always haunted me, so I had to resort to using a fake background when I meet new girls, and it just feels so wrong. I don't have a question, just wanted to say your command of the English language is pretty amazing for someone who is not a native speaker, so kudos. I'm sorry people seem to be giving you a hard time about your lot in life. In the last year I've really learned that we all have hardships in different ways, so don't let people make you feel like yours are less important because you have more money than most. Money doesn't automatically equal 100% happiness. No worries, man. I've been bilingual since 12 and graduated high school with an IB diploma, taking both English and Chinese as SLS. Also, don't feel sorry for me when someone gives me a hard time because it kind of balances out, doesn't it? Don't stress yourself out, no amount of internet bullying is too much for me. What's your relationship with your dad like? Is he a good person that you enjoy being around, or a scary, mean, distant tycoon? To me, he's the man I want to become one day. If I ever become half the man he is, I would be proud. He knows when to be strict and when to let his kids let loose. He also advocates for a tight-knit family despite the norm of socialites stabbing each other in the back for personal gains. Despite his brother getting the whole family into trouble multiple times, e.g. paying his ex-wife $75 million USD for a divorce, and he didn't even have kids with her, they were practically boyfriend-girlfriend. Even when my mother forced me to study business and economics in high school, my father still encouraged me to read about science. I still remember him telling me that sometimes a person is forced to be someone else, but it doesn't mean that they should completely discard who they wanted to be. He was happy that I ended up studying business and economics, but he's still very regretful about having to force me to study something I really didn't enjoy. All in all, he's a good man, and I can see why people trust him and follow him despite his blunders of being a good man in a world where people like to exploit the fact that you're a decent human being. You ever a distant feeling with the rest of the world? For instance, feeling disconnected at people talking about their troubles. I do. Still, to this day I sometimes feel disconnected and distant to my classmates. Hearing them talk about paying their rent, usually around £100, and how they struggle financially. I've never involuntarily gone to bed hungry and or cold before in my life, so feeling distant comes naturally. Despite my many attempts throughout the years to experience normal lives, I still can't completely understand the struggles. Which is why I created this AMA, to ask and answer questions. 1. Do you play video games? 2. Do you attend meetings with lots of other Chinese rich people or something like that? Is there an etiquette? Do you follow it strictly? 3. How many bodyguards do work for your father? I'm reading your answers and you're so kind. Lovely. Yes, I play games, actually quite a lot. Thank God I'm writing anonymously, or else I'll never admit it. No, we don't really have those Chinese triad shady meetings because firstly I'm still considered a kid, and secondly those meetings don't exist. 2.5. Not really. I don't use a fake name, but I use a fake background, so my father doesn't really care if I do something embarrassing because it can never be traced back unless I expose my identity, which is why I'm so scared of doing this AMA. 3. Plenty. We usually have 2 guards on duty 24/7 at the front gate, and used to have 2 more plus a cute doggo in the backyard, but has moved to more digital means of security, mainly high-grade cameras and electric fences, because nobody broke into the house for as long as I can remember. So why have 2 guys standing with a hound in your backyard, right? Tell me, how restricted is your life? I'm asking this because in pop culture we see that the children of very rich people can't do anything, publicly, that goes against their family's ways. Nah, we can do what we want as long as it's not illegal or super out of line, and if we keep our identity anonymous. Can't damage the family name if you're using a fake name, laughing face.